Okay, I'm going to talk about prepositional passives, which is something language teachers and textbooks quite often don't mention at all. If you haven't already watched my earlier videos on the passive voice, you may want to click on the playlist link and watch from the beginning. So, why does the prepositional passive quite often get ignored? Partly, I think, it's because it's quite tricky. The basic passive is hard enough, and partly perhaps it's because verbs that take a prepositional phrase rather than a direct object upset the rule that only transitive verbs, that is, verbs that take a direct object, can be pacified. In other words,
let's just teach what's easy to teach, and if there's an aspect of the language that doesn't fit the rules we've made, let's just ignore it.
Well, that isn't really a very good way to do things, but it makes it easy for the teachers and textbook writers. Well, I'm not going to take that easy path. I'm going to grab the bull by the horns and deal with it. As I said in the earlier videos, rather than thinking about verbs that take a grammatical object, it's probably better to think about verbs where the subject acts as an agent doing something to the patient, that is, the object. We've already seen that not all objects are patients. If I have a car, I'm not really doing anything to it. I'm not doing anything to the car by having it. So I don't think we'd ever really make a passive in this case. So now we need to explore the idea that the noun in a prepositional phrase following some verbs may also in some cases be a kind of patient, and therefore such constructions can be passivized. But even that's more complicated than it sounds. Oh, goodness, I'm beginning to see why teachers and textbooks often avoid this topic. And it's complicated because before we even get started, we need to appreciate that there are different types of constructions that superficially look quite similar, such as the cow jumped over the moon, where if we say what did it jump over, the answer could be over the moon. And the car ran over the chicken, where if we say, what did it run over, the answer could be the chicken, but probably not over the chicken. And if we ask what Fred picked up here, we could say the chicken, but certainly not up the chicken. If you want to get up to speed with these different types of construction, I made another video on that. It's a Spotlight on English video called Phrasal and Prepositional Verbs, and the link should be appearing above my head just about now. Click on that link if you want to get a handle on these basic structures before trying to tackle their passive forms. Still with me? You must be a glutton for punishment, because even I get a headache sometimes trying to understand this stuff. Let me just start by showing you how the prepositional passive works. Let's start with the two sentences we just looked at. The cow jumped over the moon and the car ran over the chicken. Now, which one of these do you think makes a more natural sounding passive? Remember what I said in the earlier Spotlight on English video about patience? If the object of the active sentence is being acted on in a clear way, we can normally make a corresponding passive sentence. Is the cow doing anything to the moon by jumping over it? Not really. The moon isn't affected by it and might not even notice it. What about the chicken? Is it affected by the car running over it? You bet it is. So, which makes the better passive? The moon was jumped over by the cow, or the chicken was run over by the car? That's right. The chicken was run over makes a lot of sense as a passive. From the chicken's point of view, something definitely happened to it. So it makes sense to look at it from the chicken's point of view, and a passive construction works here. But the moon was jumped over doesn't make sense in quite the same way. Nothing really happened to the moon, so it doesn't really make much sense to look at it from the moon's point of view. It's not wrong exactly, it's grammatically correct, and there might be possibly a context in which someone would actually say that, but it isn't something we'd normally say. Let's look at another example. Let's compare someone has drunk out of the glass and someone has gone out of the room. Now, admittedly, a glass isn't really affected very much by having someone drink out of it, but we can see the difference between a glass that someone has drunk out of and one that no one has drunk out of. There'll be a few drops left over in the bottom, maybe some other signs. What about a room, though? How would we know by looking at a room that someone has gone out of it? The room looks and is exactly the same. So we can make a passive sentence, the glass has been drunk out of, but it would be pretty strange to say the room has been gone out of. We can say that someone lives in the room or lived there until recently, so we can say the room has been lived in. And we can see that someone has slept in the bed, so we can say the bed has been slept in. But we wouldn't normally say the room has been gone out of. It isn't always easy to decide whether the object of an active sentence is a patient or not. Let's look at one more example. They are looking forward to the summer holidays, and the police are looking into the accusations. What did you make of that one? It's pretty clear that no one is doing anything to the summer holidays just by looking forward to them, so we wouldn't normally expect that sentence to be expressed in the passive. But it's kind of a judgment call whether the police are doing anything to the accusations by looking into them. In fact, the accusations are being looked into works well as a passive sentence, but you can see that it's a bit tricky and it's not always easy to decide. There are also cases where the passive is not possible at all. If Mary suffers from headaches, for example, we can't possibly think of Mary as an agent doing something to the headaches. The headaches can never in any circumstances be seen as a patient having something done to them. So we would never say something like, Mary is suffered from a headache. That would just be wrong. Equally, we can never make a passive sentence from constructions like, it seems to me, or it happened to him. Things just seem or happen. There's no agent that seems them or happens them. So no passive can be formed from them. So what we're seeing here is a kind of sliding scale, with some constructions that are more likely to be passivized, some that are less likely, some that are very unlikely, and some that are completely impossible. Here are a few more examples for you to try on your own. In each case, one of the sentences can be made into a natural sounding passive and the other one can't. How did you get on? If you're going to try using these prepositional passives, you're probably going to come up against more problems. This video doesn't give all the answers, but I hope it's given you a tool you can use to help you understand and use passives of this kind.